I have been social media stalking my boyfriend's ex-girlfriend for 3 years. For the past 3 years, I have been social media stalking my boyfriend's ex-girlfriend daily and I can't seem to stop. I know it's crazy. I know it's incredibly unhealthy. She just bothers me so much I don't know what to do. Before I get into the details, I would like to say that I don't think my boyfriend would ever cheat on me or go back to her. I'm fully aware my obsession with her is just from my own insecurities. The point of this post is so I can get everything off my chest and seek advice from others. Let's call my boyfriend Steve and his ex-girlfriend Sally. Early on in me and Steve's relationship, we had the exes talk and I told him all about my exes and he told me about his. He had only been in one relationship before me, and it was with Sally. They grew up in the same town, were on and off for a while. During their sophomore year of high school they officially got together, dated for almost 5 years and broke up their junior year of college. When he was talking about this relationship, he said they had their whole lives planned out together and he thought he was going to marry her. What he said didn't bother me at all at first. We had only been on a couple dates at this point. It was only 6 months after the breakup, so it's understandable for him to feel that way. I'm the one who asked about it and told him he could be honest. And at that time I was also getting over a breakup with someone I thought I was going to marry too. I found out that they did long distance in college. Both are from Ohio but went to schools out of state. And he suspected that she was cheating on him. He visited her one time at her college and immediately didn't like this friend she had. We'll call him Jake. When he brought up his concern about Jake, it started a fight, and he backed off. But for months he would see pictures of them together on social media, looking very close and snuggly, and every time he would confront her about it she would always say he's just a friend. Apparently there was one weekend when her and her friends, Jake included, went to a music festival, and after that Sally was totally different. This is the weekend Jake suspects Sally actually cheated on him, because soon later they break up and she starts dating Jake. The cheating has never been confirmed, but I think it's true because through my stalking I have found multiple touchy photos that were posted while Steve and Sally were together, and Sally posted a TikTok confirming that her and Jake started dating the same month her and Steve broke up. Sally wanted to remain friends with Steve since they have been together basically their whole lives. But Steve told her he couldn't bear being just friends with her and blocked her on everything. Besides the suspected cheating, he also told me there were other problems with their relationship. Of course there was petty little drama while they were in high school, but when he told her he wanted to go out of state for college she started a fight and told him he needed to stay in their hometown and go to community college there so she could visit him during the holidays. Another issue was that she had a lot of guy friends. Through my stalking I have seen all the photos of her with her guy friends. But Steve wasn't allowed to have any girlfriends. He said he was forced to end a 10-year friendship because of Sally, but she refused to end any of her friendships with guys. Which is kind of ironic considering her boyfriend now started as just a friend. That was the end of that for a while. We started seeing each other more. I met his friends, I met his family, we were officially dating. One day I decided to stalk him on Instagram. I wanted to see some old photos or something but as I was going through his tagged photos, I saw a photo of him and Sally at prom. Her mom had posted it on her Instagram account, and I remember thinking, so this is the ex. She was pretty, it was prom so she was all dolled up. I then kept looking through her mom's Instagram, and as it turns out, not only was she pretty, she also had the perfect body. It kind of took me by surprise because her body was the exact opposite of mine. I was skinny, small cherries, and a small booty. She on the other hand had big cherries, a big booty, and of course an hourglass figure. I couldn't help but wonder, if this is his type then what is he doing with me? How can he go from a girl like that to a girl like me? Sally's Instagram is private so my stalking ended there for the time being. For months every now and then I would get curious and look up her friends who were also friends with Steve. Through her friends' social media accounts I found a lot more pictures, and began to feel really insecure. I just could not get over her body. It was clear I didn't have the better body, so I at least wanted to have the better relationship. I know that's toxic thinking, but I couldn't help it. I would catch myself thinking, I wonder if he did this with Sally. I wonder if Sally did this better than me. I just wanted to be better than her. Through my stalking I found out a lot about her. She was popular in high school, was a dancer, went to parties. She had the life I wanted in high school. Which in a way stung even more. She had the dream body, she had the dream life, she had everything, and she had Steve. And I just can't wrap my head around why Steve would even look at me when he had all that. I know I previously explained how their relationship wasn't the greatest, but there clearly had to be some good parts. I've seen the pictures of them looking in love, I've read the letters she wrote him, and I just always go back to that first moment when he said he thought he was going to marry her. And it sucks knowing that he had such strong feelings for her that he couldn't even bear being her friend. It hurt him too much. He'll tell me about the hard times they went through, and how he wanted to break up with her so many times. But at the end of the day, I know he didn't break up with her because he was in love with her. And part of me wonders if she didn't cheat on him, if they would be together now. After a while I took a step back and realized that this wasn't good for me. I was just constantly hyper-fixating on trying to be better than her, and it made me wonder if I even liked Steve or if I just wanted to be better than Sally. Spoiler alert, after dating for almost 4 years now, I can confirm that I do actually love him and we are very happy together. So I stopped stalking her for a bit, focused on my relationship with Steve, and things were better. At this point, Steve didn't know about my feelings towards Sally. He had no clue I had been stalking her every day, and I knew a lot more about her and their relationship than what I was leading on. About a year into our relationship, I turned my Instagram account into a creator profile. It basically just gives you a whole bunch of features for you to track your stats, but one feature it gave me was the ability to see how many unfollowers view my story. One day I noticed I had an unfollower view my story, which was uncommon, so out of curiosity I went to see who was stalking me, and to my surprise it was Sally. My stomach instantly dropped. I know she probably already knew of me because her friends still follow Steve on Instagram, but there was just something about the fact that she was looking at me pushed me over the edge. I started feeling incredibly insecure now that I knew she was stalking me. I deleted a bunch of pictures. I edited my pictures more. It was just not a good period mentally. I didn't want her to think, oh, Steve's new girlfriend is ugly. What a joke, you know. You might ask why I didn't just turn my account private, and the truth is part of me liked the fact she was stalking me. It meant I got under her skin, and that she was just as curious about me as I was about her. I also went back to stalking after this, and I went hardcore. I wanted to find any possible bad picture of her so I could feel better about myself. I have probably seen every post ever related to her as long as it was posted from a public account. Her Instagram is her only private social media, so I would check her Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Venmo, YouTube, Visco, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and I even found her ask from 2014. Steve caught me stalking her once. He had no idea I had felt this way towards her, since I keep a good poker face. I didn't tell him everything, like the extent of my stalking and my deep insecurities. I had just told him I was curious about her and their relationship, and it made me insecure. He told me I had nothing to worry about, how he thinks I'm prettier, how he loves my body and loves me so much more than her. He said I shouldn't waste any time thinking about her cause he doesn't think about her at all. He was saying all the right things, but I still couldn't help but feel the way I did. Anyone on this planet would have chosen her over me in a second, so it just wasn't clicking in my head why Steve would even want me. Steve is still really close with all of his guy friends from high school. And after we graduated college, Steve found a really good job back in his hometown and we moved there together. All of his old friends are still in the area, so we see them very often. I know that in high school Steve and his friends were very close with Sally and her friends and did everything all together, so I know all of his friends were really close to Sally too. I had met all of his friends way before we even moved back, and I love all of them. I only have issues with one and I'll explain that later. Now that we have moved back to his hometown, we hang out with them every weekend and have a lot of fun. But sometimes they'll bring up stories from their high school days and I just know Sally was there and they are probably leaving stuff out of stories to spare my feelings. All of them do this except one friend, we'll call him Aaron. When I first met Aaron, he had literally just been broken up with by his longtime girlfriend. This was the first time I was meeting his friends from high school, so we were supposed to all go out for dinner and hang out. But because Aaron was going through a breakup, he wanted to go to a bar and drink, which was fine, I didn't mind at all, but the entire time he just kept asking Steve about how he handled the breakup between him and Sally. I understand why he would ask Steve for advice, but he did not have to do it when he's meeting his new girlfriend. It was the most awkward experience of my life. He would not stop asking about Sally and how they were so in love. It was so bad. Their other friend apologized to me on Aaron's behalf. Like, I get it, you're heartbroken and that sucks, but why would you bring up your friend's ex-girlfriend the entire night that was dedicated to meeting his new girlfriend? The whole time Steve was squeezing my hand under the table and texting me reassuring things because at this point her name was like a trigger to me. Since then, Aaron has kinda apologized for that awkward night, but he still brings her up every time we see him. He's the only friend who lives a couple hours away, so we don't see him as often, but still every time. I have a theory that Aaron and Sally must have been close friends because he still has a picture of him, Steve, and Sally up on his Instagram captioned Mom and Dad, and he doesn't even follow me back. All of his other friends never bring up Sally, but occasionally I'll see a picture with all of them together. The point is that she was very close with his friends, and she's still a topic that resurfaces every now and then almost 4 years later. So it's probably something I'll have to get over. Whenever a story is brought up with her, or a picture is being passed around, Steve does do a very good job at shutting it down or changing the subject to spare my feelings. I do consider his friends my friends as well. Like I said, we hang out every weekend and have tons of fun together, and I like to think his friends would like me more than Sally, but of course I'll never know the kind of connection they had with her. When it comes to his family though, I know I have her beat for sure. Apparently his mom did not like Sally, his grandma thought she was promiscuous, and his stepdad thought she was stuck up. When I was meeting his cousins for the first time, they all told him that they like me so much more and that I don't come with so much drama. So I'll take that as a win. She might have the better body, she might be more successful, she might have connections with his friends, but at least I got mom's approval. At some point I was going through her TikTok and found that her friend posted a video of herself, Sally, and another friend doing an ex-boyfriend trend thing. The audio is basically like whose ex is the bigger cheater, whose ex is going nowhere in life, whose ex is too skinny, etc. And if you thought the statement applied to someone's ex, you would pour some drink in their cup. They implied some pretty hurtful stuff about Steve, basically calling him ugly, skinny, and going nowhere in life, which is so funny to me because she was the one who wanted him to go to community college in their hometown, which he didn't, and now he works for a Fortune 500 company. But the statement that really killed me was when the audio said whose ex downgraded the most and they all poured their drinks into Sally's cup. I was mortified. All of my insecurities had just been confirmed. Sally and all of her friends can see that I am clearly a downgrade. And it really hurt. It still hurts. After that moment things got really bad for me mentally. I just kept seeing myself as the downgrade. I still do sometimes, and I don't know how to stop. Steve has given me all the reassurance a girl could ever dream of, and it just doesn't work. He has told me how much better I am than her, how our relationship doesn't even compare to the one they had, how he was so unhappy with her, and it's like no matter what he says I just don't believe him because I'm clearly a downgrade. I should also mention that the month we started dating, Sally posted a TikTok video captioned "and that's on toxic ex-boyfriends." I know I have only heard Steve's side of their relationship, and I know Steve probably wasn't the most perfect boyfriend ever in high school, but from my stalking and from what Steve has told me, it totally seems like she was the toxic one. And it struck a nerve with me that she posted that. My theory is that since it was around the same time we started dating, she was just mad he moved on, and that her friend posted that TikTok bashing Steve. Why is she still posting stuff about Steve when they have been broken up for so long and both found new people? Like she's literally the one who suspectedly cheated on him and started dating the guy he was worried about, so who's really the toxic one? It got me thinking that maybe she still has feelings for him. At this point she was still stalking my Instagram and I would catch her every time, so she was clearly keeping tabs through me since Steve had her blocked. For the past year things have been more tame. There hasn't been any post bashing either of us. She didn't really post much at all anymore. But I would still catch her stalking me. Steve and I went to a music festival one weekend and I posted a cute picture of us on my story, and when I checked the next day she had viewed it. But it wasn't just her, it was her friends as well, which was new. I started to spiral again. Her and her friends were back to making fun of me behind my back and picturing me as a downgrade. I turned my Instagram account private after that, which I have never done. My thought process was that since she knew we would be at this 3-day festival, she might come back to my account and stalk me again, and then once she sees that I'm now a private account, she'll know I caught her. This worked because after the festival I went to look at her account just to find out that she blocked me. So my theory is that she was embarrassed I caught her stalking me and panic blocked me. I also noticed she blocked me on Facebook too, so I'm thinking she's getting rid of any sort of temptation to stalk me. Which I should probably do too. I realize that all of this is crazy. Completely hyperfixating on a girl I've never even met, on a girl that my boyfriend truly does not care about anymore, is crazy and I am aware. I can't help it. I know I'm just being insecure but I can't stop. But today I blocked all of her social media accounts. I don't want to feel sad and bad about myself anymore. I never was this insecure before she came into the picture, and I want to go back to being happy with my body and loving myself. So if anyone could share any advice or similar stories, that would honestly help a lot. I just want to know that I'm not the only one who has felt this way. I want to know what I can do to get her off my mind. Comment. I didn't read the whole thing, but damn girl, block her on everything and forget about it. The whole TikTok cup thing. Sally has had other BFS. Why are you so fixated that she's talking about Steve rather than Jake? You are coming off as completely unhinged. She's probably blocked you because you stalk her so much. You're popping up on her people you may know lists, and she doesn't really want to know her ex-BFS new girlfriend. I got halfway and couldn't read anymore. You're only hurting yourself, and in the end you're going to self-sabotage your relationship over your unhealthy obsession with your BF's ex. Just block her and move on. What's going to happen is your BF is eventually going to start thinking about her and probably want to reconnect. You're letting her energy and presence into your relationship with your BF. Block, delete, move on. The way I normally suggest people deal with jealousy is to realize that people aren't normally shallow in relationships. While we may meet someone, or start talking with them because of some superficial thing, you are in the same class, they have a hair color you like, you are at a sci-fi convention, you don't generally drop someone when you find a person who is more into whatever that was. For instance, suppose I like red hair. I may meet a woman who has dyed her hair red, not my preferred color, but close enough to be eye-catching, so we strike up conversation. If the conversation goes well and we start dating, I'm not still on the prowl looking for someone who has hair closer to my ideal redhead color. Of course, there probably are some people like that. But it seems that most people who get into relationships find other reasons to stay in those relationships. We tend to have more profound reasons why we like someone, why we want them in our lives for the long term, why they are important to us. It might be something like, you accept me in a way no one else does, not even my parents. It might be, you get me to see the humor in my life, when I thought I was boring. Something unique about how your partner and you mesh together, something important that you want to keep around. Ask Steve why he wants you, in particular, in his life, and listen to his answer. Ask yourself why you are seeking out reasons to be insecure. You're clearly not enhancing your life or your relationship in any way. You're obviously not the only person who's ever become obsessed with a partner's ex. But whether this results in the destruction of your relationship or just you feeling shitty all the time, it's up to you to control yourself and will this to stop happening. It's really no more complicated than that. You should take that energy you are putting towards comparing yourself to others and being insecure and try to use it on something positive instead. Maybe hit the gym. Also try to remember that he wants you and not her, so trying to resemble this person, even physically, is most definitely not what he wants. I'd imagine he wants to move past his last relationship. He could get bummed out that he's doing what he's supposed to, but that she keeps coming up.